Goodyear's rock crawling finals in Farmington, New Mexico had all the drama of a presidential election. Filled with action, emotion, and excitement, the conflict on the rocks promised that only one team would leave with a top prize. Unlike the election, the competitors would not disappoint the throngs who came to cheer on their favorite driver. As advertised, the competition in Farmington came down to the wire. Two men were vying for the Goodyear Extreme Rock Crawling Championship Series trophy. The right to claim they had the right stuff. Sure, there were others who wanted to play the role of spoiler, but that was not to be. It would be Jeff "Rookie" Wagner versus Chris Durham. Like the tires on their vehicles, they would have to scratch and claw their way to the top of each obstacle. One would be victorious. The other would likely succumb to the New Mexico desert and the harshest of conditions. Even after the first day, emotions ran high, particularly with Wagner holding a slim lead. The Kearney, Nebraska driver had led the championship series throughout the season. The Nebraska plumber was true to his reputation. Wagner, who is nicknamed Rookie, is known for his cool demeanor in off-roading events. He used this evenness throughout 2000 to maintain consistency at each event. Wagner tackled each obstacle with aplomb until something strange happened. On the very last obstacle, Wagner's 1998 Jeep TJ suffered a breakdown. It was a first for the Curry Enterprises Jeep, which had performed flawlessly throughout 2000. It cracked the door for Chris Durham of Travelers Rest, South Carolina, and his spotter Moose Nally to show their mettle. Now Moose is a big man who throws boulders for sport. The Southern Mountain Man also keeps his driver on the straight and narrow. Durham is known for his hair-trigger temper. Moose is the moderating factor. The big man calms Durham when the going gets tough. Moose can talk his way through an obstacle and smooth over the rough spots. Thankfully, we haven't made Moose mad. If so, we'll call on his friend Durham, who also knows how to calm the big man. Rock crawling is a team sport, no doubt about it. Just look at Durham and Moose. They've known each other for 16 years. Durham opened a new 4x4 shop in South Carolina, Foothills 4x4, and believes in building, not buying off-road rigs. His blue and black tiger striped Jeep CJ10 is probably one of the rarest in the series. The vehicle was designed as a tug to move airplanes at the airport, and it was never intended for rock crawling. However, Durham's ingenuity and excellent driving skills made his Jeep a contender almost immediately. He also had Moose to move boulders and throw his weight around. In Farmington, on that last obstacle where Wagner and his crew stumbled, Durham and Moose showed why they traveled the farthest for each of the Western-based Goodyear events. Durham and Moose showed why they would win the series championship in Farmington. Determination, momentum, make it or break it. Victory. The thrill of victory may be a cliche, but the sight of Durham's Jeep climbing that last obstacle was awe-inspiring. Durham's gut-wrenching climb was made all the more sweeter, since this was the first time his parents were on hand to see him drive. And then there was the crowd that went wild on Moose's show of emotion. It mirrored the reaction of the competitors at the awards banquet. Camaraderie on the rocks wasn't left behind that day. The cheering continued indoors, where Moose proved he could lift trophies as well as boulders. Durham and Moose conquered the mountains that day and won the biggest prize, the Goodyear Extreme Rock Crawling Championship Series. A look back at the Goodyear Series 5 events revived memories not lost on the rocks. Appropriately, the series began in Farmington in September 1999. Goodyear and the American Rock Crawlers Association joined forces to promote a new sport that also could be a hobby for the family. Almost immediately, the drivers and their spotters became heroes of the sport. Rookie Wagner and Shannon Campbell of Gilbert, Arizona became the leaders in this new sport. And Farmington showed the popularity of rock crawling, as nearly 5,000 spectators were on hand to cheer the contestants. Farmington seemed to be the perfect event for that famous saying, stuck between a rock and a hard place. It really became men and their extreme machines versus the rocks. But as many quickly realized, it takes more than brute force to overcome nature's obstacles. Shannon Campbell won the battle in the first Farmington event. Wagner, who had a problem on the second day, led the war for the series championship. For Wagner and others, they discovered that to have a chance at winning it all, mistakes would have to be overcome. Even if you roll like Wagner did in Farmington, you have to dust yourself off and attack the obstacle with a vengeance. In Phoenix, rookie Wagner faced another rookie of rock crawling, 61-year-old off-road racing legend Walker Evans. The core race champion was a surprise entrant in the competition, having never competed in a race at a snail's pace. What else can be said in praise of the career accomplishments of Walker Evans? The crowd was in awe that the off-road legend would compete in rock crawling. He made a respectable showing in his first off-road event, and Evans' presence promised to shake up the status quo. In a modified 1997 Chevy Blazer, Evans would prove that he was up to the challenge and ready to blaze new trails in a remarkable career. Rookie Wagner, meanwhile, barely missed first place to upstart Don Bernier and strengthened his lead for the series championship. By Phoenix, however, South Carolina's Durham was making his presence felt. He finished fourth there, only 4 points behind Wagner. In Cedar City, Utah, Durham would have his way on the rocks and start cutting into Wagner's series points lead. What's more, Durham figured his East Coast four-wheeling experience gave him an advantage over other drivers. According to Durham, Eastern wheeling is mud and rocks, and you learn to judge and balance wheel spin, wheel speed, and momentum. And he had the Moose, who could rearrange rocks and boulders more to his liking. At least Durham had rocks on which to drive. Wagner lives in the Nebraska prairie, with nary a mountain in sight. Wagner relied instead on ability. He had the ability to make off-roading look easy, even on the hardest obstacles. He would have to call on that ability many times as Durham inched toward the championship. Durham won Cedar City and took second place in championship points, 10 points behind Wagner. Arizona's Shannon Campbell was third with 318 points, 24 out of first. As the leaderboard tightened, more people began to experience Goodyear's National Rock Crawling Series. To the uninitiated, rock crawling is an unusual sport, but it can be infectious. In the June Cedar City event, nearly 10,000 spectators attended the competition. The finals in Farmington attracted more than 11,000 people. However, before the finals, there was Vernal, Utah. A rookie in rock crawling took a giant leap toward legendary status. Walker Evans won his first rock crawling event in a new trick truck with hydraulic rear wheel steering and new production Wrangler MT tires. Evans, in a modified 2000 Chevrolet pickup, accomplished what he had been predicting since the Phoenix event: victory. Evans also laid down the gauntlet for 2001. He fully expects to win the series championship. The crowds in Vernal were treated to perfection, as well as several vehicle rollovers. In both cases, they showed their approval. Evans and Durham finished with perfect scores on the first day. It was the second day, however, that saw its share of excitement. For those who had Goodyear's new Wrangler tires, the number 14 obstacle was relatively easy. Evans blazed a new trail up the obstacle by taking a different route than his competitors. Arizona's Shannon Campbell also used his new Wranglers to conquer obstacle 14. So did Joe Randall, another Nebraska standout. But those without Wranglers weren't so lucky. Tracy Jordan of Arizona certainly is on a roll. He rolled his Toyota truck not once, but twice. He's improving, though. He rolled a few times at a previous event. Randall came in second. Durham finished third to set up a showdown at the Farmington Finals. Wagner arrived in Farmington with a slim 2-point series championship lead over Durham. With the Farmington Finals in the history books and Durham crowned the champion, Goodyear and ARCA look to expand the Goodyear National Rock Crawling Championship Series in 2001. Rock crawling has an excellent future, but it needs to grow from here. For Goodyear, the series became the perfect showcase for its new Wrangler MTR off-road tire. The fact is, the new tire has been an instant hit. The top team selected the tire for their modified vehicles in the championship series, and the company is having trouble keeping the larger sizes in stock. The Wrangler MTR tire also has had a halo effect as consumers turn to Goodyear's Wrangler ATS and Wrangler RTS for durability and toughness. The rugged ride together on the nation's highways and on the rocks. So too, as more people experience Goodyear's National Series, expect off-roading to grow as a spectator sport. With thousands turning out for the competition in Cedar City and Farmington, enthusiasts and non-enthusiasts alike are focusing on the thrills of rock crawling. In 2001, look for even bigger numbers and the ever-growing presence of Goodyear, #1 in tires and rock crawling.